Hello students, welcome to my class. Today we will study about the first element of periodic table, hydrogen. Here in this video I will explain all details about hydrogen, as in its place in periodic table, the method of preparation, all the laboratory preparation, the industrial method of preparation, physical properties, chemical properties, uses, and then about the oxidation and reduction reactions and so on. I will be sticking to your syllabus and also giving you questions which you may get in the board paper. So I will be taking care of that also. And there are many facts actually to explain in this chapter. So maybe I will have to put up in parts in 2 videos. But I am very sure you will like and understand the video very nicely. And please like, share and subscribe my channel. So let's begin. So children, when we talk about hydrogen, I am sure everyone knows that the symbol of hydrogen, you all know it is capital H. The molecular formula, you know it is H2, that is when we say hydrogen gas, whose atomic number is 1, so the valency is 1, the electronic configuration is 1, that is the K shell, the first shell, the relative atomic mass is 1 and the relative molecular mass is 2. And about hydrogen we have done in the junior classes that many scientists have contributed towards its discovery and its name, that is Robert Boyle prepared the gas and Henry Cavendish discovered hydrogen and prepared it, actually established its elementary nature and showed that water is formed when hydrogen is burnt in air, and Lavoisier was the scientist who gave the name hydrogen, meaning water form, hydro, that is hydra, water. But to talk about its position in the periodic table, it has been very controversial and debate also, because we all know that hydrogen is the first element, that is the first group and the first period of the periodic table, since the atomic number is 1 and has 1 electron in the valence electron. So when we put the electrons according to the electronic configuration, we also keep the elements in the period or the group wise, like the group number is always the number of electrons in the valence shell or the valence electron. So when it is group 1, period 1, 1 electron in the outermost orbit, so therefore hydrogen is kept there because it has got 1 electron in the outermost orbit. But some of the properties also resemble the halogens, that is the group 7a, because hydrogen is not metal, but group 1 is all alkali metals. Some of the properties are similar, correct? Halogens, non-metal, hydrogen is also non-metal, but when we are sticking to the position in the periodic table, we have to stick to this fact that there is 1 electron in the valence shell, therefore first group and first period. So about it also we will now try to see that there are many properties which are similar and dissimilar also, but first let's do the similarity between hydrogen and alkali metals. So first is the electronic configuration, which we discussed just now, that there is 1 electron in the valence shell. 1 valence electron for hydrogen, lithium's atomic number 3, so electronic configuration 2, 1, sodium's atomic number 11, electronic configuration 281, potassium 19, 2881, all these you know. So all these have 1 electron in the outermost orbit. Therefore its place is proved in the periodic table along with the alkali metals. Second, it forms cation, like hydrogen can lose 1 electron and become hydrogen ion, just like lithium and sodium and potassium. Ionic equations, if you remember, we have done in the previous videos, so it is not new to you. You all have also done it. The first chapter we have done in the video and I had asked you to practice also. Right. Then the reducing nature. Actually, reduction means removing oxygen is very important to understand. There are many details about oxidation and reduction, which I'm going to do in the probably the next video. But in this video, as it is told, reducing nature, we all know metals are good reducing agent. So is hydrogen. So copper oxide with hydrogen will give you copper and water. Just like with sodium, it gives you copper and sodium oxide. Burning, yes, they react with oxygen. They burn. Hydrogen and oxygen gives you water. Similarly, lithium and oxygen gives you lithium oxide. Actually, hydrogen burns with a pop sound. It burns with a blue flame. And it is explosive. Risk is there. This is very, exothermic. And alkali metals burn, but they burn very vigorously, giving you lithium oxide, sodium oxide, or sometimes sodium peroxide. Potassium rubidium can give you their superoxide. So just to say that they will form oxides just like metals, and the reactions are vigorous. Alkali metals are very reactive, so they are stored, under kerosene oil, which is inert. Because it prevents its contact from air and moisture. So we take care of hydrogen also, that it doesn't come in contact with air or atmosphere, because the reaction is going to be very vigorous. And we all know that bubbles of hydrogen are seen when these reactions are with metals, with something, when hydrogen comes out. But if we say amalgam, that is sodium and potassium alloys with sodium and potassium, the reaction becomes smooth. So we'll talk about it more in the next slide maybe. So now burning, so we spoke about it. It combines with non-metals like oxygen, it combines with sulfur, it combines with chlorine, it combines just like the metals combining with oxygen, sulfur and chloride, and thus forming their compounds. So there are some questions which you can try answering. State the position of hydrogen in the periodic table with reason. Why are we putting hydrogen in the first period and first group? Then give a chemical reaction to show the reducing nature of hydrogen. This is a very important question which is generally asked. And then there are questions like complete the equation. Why I have put this? Because there will be more reactions other than what I have showed you here. So my point is, please practice all the equations, because you may get questions like this. You will get actually questions like this. So if you are not ready with the equations, you will not be able to answer, children. So please be careful about it. So this was all about similarity of hydrogen and alkali metals. Now let's divide about similarity of how can we say that hydrogen can be placed with the group 7A, that is halogen. So we know it's similar to the halogens also. How? First, electronic configuration. How? They have one electron less than the nearest inert gas. So the valency is 1. Now valency is 1 means in this case there is one electron less, because every atom of an element tries to get a stable electronic configuration by gaining or losing electrons. In this case, they have one electron less, like hydrogen has 1. And the first orbit, that is K shell, can have 2 electrons, duplet. So 1 less. Similarly, fluorine, which is 9, electronic configuration 2, 7, it should get 1 or gain 1 to make it 8 and a stable electronic configuration, like neon. Then chlorine, like argon, it can accept 1 more. So they are all 1 less. So the valency is 1. Similar property. And they are non-metals, we know it. Electronegative character. So hydrogen can accept 1, become H minus. So does fluorine and chlorine. Physical state, they are non-metals and they are gaseous in nature. Chlorine is gas, fluorine is gas, hydrogen is also gas. Atomicity, they are all diatomic, H2, F2 and Cl2. Now, if we have all spoken about the similar properties, there are certain properties of hydrogen which are different also from alkali metals and halogens. How? Hydrogen atom has got one shell, K shell, but all the rest of the alkali metals and the halogens have 2 or more than 2 shells. They are not having one shell. It is only hydrogen that has got one shell, K shell. Rest of them are the second shell or the third or the fourth and so on. Second difference, oxide of hydrogen, that is H2O, is neutral to the litmus, but oxides of halogens are always acidic and oxides of alkali are always basic in nature. So oxides of halogen will turn the blue litmus red, whereas oxides of alkali metals will turn the red litmus blue, but hydrogen will be neutral to it. That is, two differences. Now to talk about the occurrence. So where do we get hydrogen? In the Earth's crust, atmosphere and volcanic gases in traces, very little amount, because you will not get it. It is always in the combined state, free state not possible, so traces we get. But in plant tissues, animal tissues, acids, bases, proteins, hydrocarbons, so many compounds we get hydrogen in the combined state, because it will have a tendency to react. It is very reactive. It can react with almost everything, which we are going to discuss more in the chemical properties. So this is occurrence. So to talk about more properties of hydrogen, we will now see the preparation of hydrogen. And there are different methods to prepare hydrogen. Actually, if you talk about activity series, you will know, which you have already done actually, lead and metals further below will not react at all to give hydrogen, because as you know, we have done this in the chemical reaction and reaction chapter and changes chapter, that the metal above the activity series can only displace. So all the metals below hydrogen will not be able to displace hydrogen. And in the activity series we also know this, that the electropositive character when you come down decreases. The reducing property of those elements, that is metals generally, also decreases. Where potassium is the strongest reducing agent, because you begin from potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium and so on. So the tendency of metals to lose valence electron decreases as we come down. A metal therefore higher up in the series will be able to displace the metal below it, because the above one is more reactive. Like zinc will be able, zinc when you react with dilute HCl, it will give you salt and hydrogen, ZnCl2 and hydrogen. But will copper react? No, because copper will not be able to displace hydrogen as it is below hydrogen. Similarly, we have done this reaction also so many times, asking about reaction, asking about observation, that what do you observe when zinc reacts with copper sulfate? Answer we have discussed, the blue color fades and you get a colorless salt solution with a reddish brown deposit. But do you know why? Copper sulfate with zinc above copper can easily displace copper and give you zinc sulfate and copper metal. But will copper react with zinc sulfate? No, because copper is below zinc and it will not be able to displace zinc. So here also when we talk about preparation of hydrogen, we are now actually talking about displacing hydrogen. So therefore you should have proper idea about activity series, its properties, and what is actually happening when we talk about the activity series. We have discussed a little. I did it just now also. We did it last year, but I am sure all of you know about it. So the metal below hydrogen will not answer the test. Now here the first method of preparation is action of cold water on metal. So the metals that will react with cold water are the first three: potassium, sodium, calcium. Very reactive, because there are the first three, the top three in the activity series, and they will form their corresponding hydroxide. Why I have written this? Because below that will form their corresponding oxides, but these three will form their corresponding hydroxides with hydrogen. When we do the reactions individually, we also talk about the observation here, because it is important, children. So the first thing is potassium reacting with water will give you potassium hydroxide and hydrogen as discussed here. What do you observe? See, potassium is light, so it will float on water. But again, potassium is very reactive. So it will form a silvery grey globule which will dart on the surface. It will react, jump, so it will dart on the surface. The reaction is highly exothermic, vigorous, and it is so vigorous and reactive that it will catch fire with lilac flame. And the solution will become soapy and alkaline, because what are you forming? KOH. So definitely the solution will be soapy and alkaline. We see almost similar observation when sodium reacts with cold water. Flows, yes, light. Silvery globule, darts, important. Exothermic, vigorous, yes, but definitely less than potassium. Catches fire, but the color now will be golden yellow, and the solution will be similar, soapy, alkaline. You have to remember, because you are going to get questions on them, I am sure. Now, the last one, not the least, we will go to the next type. Calcium. Here, in this context, it is the last. Cold water will give you calcium hydroxide and hydrogen. Observation. Calcium will now sink. It is heavy. So, it sinks. Less vigorous than sodium, definitely from potassium also. The solution turns milky, turbid, in this case calcium hydroxide, so, and alkaline, that you know, and it will turn the red litmus blue. Now we all know that potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, their ability to reduce water to hydrogen, because they will all displace hydrogen. It is therefore written here separately. Now the next type of reaction, way to prepare hydrogen when we are talking. Now see, it is action of hot water on steam. Now cold water we did with the three, that is potassium, sodium and calcium. Now we come to the hot water. Here there is only one exception here for magnesium, which will react with both steam as well as boiling water. How do you identify? When it is with boiling water, you get magnesium hydroxide. With steam, you will get oxide, and hydrogen of course is released. Similarly, aluminium will give you aluminium oxide and hydrogen. Zinc will give you zinc oxide and hydrogen. All these are steam, more temperature. Iron will give you triferric tetroxide, this oxide, okay, and hydrogen, and it's a reversible reaction. This is a thing which is different from the rest, and the oxide also is different, as like others will give their simple oxides. There is one more way, action of dilute acids. So we know that magnesium with dilute HCl will give you salt and hydrogen. Aluminium with dilute sulfuric acid will give you salt and hydrogen. Similarly, zinc will give you with HCl, zinc chloride and hydrogen. Zinc with dilute sulfuric acid will give you zinc sulfate and hydrogen. There are many other reactions on this, under this topic in your text. I would suggest practice all of them. It is important. This is important. Action of alkalis on which metal? Amphoteric metal. So there are some metals which will react with both acids as well as bases. So these metals are known as amphoteric in nature, and they are these three, that is zinc, lead and aluminium, which will react with alkali of sodium hydroxide as well as it can react with potassium hydroxide. There are all the 6 reactions given in your text. You will practice all of them, but just to tell you that there is a complex salt and hydrogen. So sodium zincate, potassium plumbate, sodium aluminate along with hydrogen. Formulas, names, very important, children. Please practice them, and I am 100% sure from this part, be it name the metal, be it give the equation, be it complete the equation, one question is definitely there. Now when we talk about a metal reacting with metal reacting with dilute acid, we should all know why do we prefer zinc. Reason is, sodium and potassium, they react, but it is so violently reacting that it is very difficult to collect hydrogen. Calcium and magnesium is not preferred because they are expensive. Aluminium forms a very protective coating, that is alumina Al2O3, it will form a coat over the metal and it will stop the further reaction. The further reaction is hindered. Iron may react, but it will need such a lot of heat that expense cost or production is more. And so produced with along with hydrogen will also give you impurities. So cost factor again to purify hydrogen. Lead forms one insoluble coat. Initial stages, for beginning it will react, immediately it will form a coat which cannot be removed easily and it will prevent the further reaction. Copper, mercury, definitely below hydrogen, so they are not going to react. So zinc is the most preferred metal which will easily give you hydrogen, but here again pure zinc is not taken. Pure zinc will not give you the result, and we are going to discuss about it just now. So we talk about the laboratory preparation of hydrogen, where the reactants which are preferred are granulated zinc, dilute HCl or dilute sulfuric acid. Why zinc? We discussed it just now. Why granulated zinc? We will do it just now. And why only these two, dilute not concentrated? That also I will teach you. But to first, the reaction, that is zinc will react with dilute HCl, salt and hydrogen, zinc chloride. You should remember the mechanism, so it makes it easier for you to remember the reactions rather than mugging it up. Then zinc can react with dilute sulfuric acid to give you zinc sulfate and hydrogen. Here the gas is always evolved in the form of effervescence. This we have discussed it earlier also. Now the reason why zinc granules are preferred, because some of the impurities which are present there, that is copper, it has a catalytic effect which will always speed up the reaction rate and it will produce hydrogen easily. We will not be using dilute nitric acid in this case because we all know it is a very strong oxidizing agent and it will not give you hydrogen. It will quickly oxidize hydrogen to water and defeats the person because purpose. Why? What are we looking forward to? We are looking forward to preparation of hydrogen, and hydrogen is quickly oxidized to water and our purpose is not fulfilled. So if it is dilute nitric acid with zinc, you are getting this zinc nitrate, it is getting this water, you are also getting nitrogen monoxide. But yes, dilute nitric acid is possible to use, but only with magnesium and manganese. That too, dilute nitric acid should be only 1% dilute, very dilute, cold temperature, you can get hydrogen. Yes, now we say that we can't use conc sulfuric acid because sulfur give you hydrogen anymore, water and so therefore only dilute HCl and dilute sulfuric acid can be used. Collection. How do we collect? We collect by downward displacement of water. Why? There are reasons. It is almost insoluble in water, like we say sparingly soluble in water, so we can collect it over water, and it being lighter, so downward displacement of water. But we can't use it with air because, as I said just now, that it is very explosive mixture with air, so we cannot collect over air. So these are reasoning questions which you all should prepare yourself. Drying agent, there are many: fused calcium chloride, caustic potash, potassium pentoxide, but not concentrated sulfuric acid. We know that it will have a oxidizing effect and it will react. So we come to the other parts of the laboratory preparation. Along with hydrogen, there are certain impurities which come out, like hydrogen sulfide, sulfur dioxide, phosphine, arsine, carbon dioxide, water vapor, some of the oxides of nitrogen. But yes, there are steps which are simple, easy laboratory preparation which can be done, and these impurities can be removed, like silver nitrate. It will quickly remove arsine and phosphine, and these are the reactions, how they are absorbed and removed without reacting with hydrogen. We use lead nitrate to remove hydrogen sulfide, which is absorbed in this form of precipitate, filtered, and hydrogen can be taken out. And potash, like potassium hydroxide, so that all these oxides of sulfur, carbon, nitrogen can be absorbed as shown. Please learn the equations. And as I said, that conch sulfuric acid cannot be used to remove water because it will react to give you water and sulfur dioxide. Yes, because it is hydrogen, very reactive. There are certain precautions also which we should take care of, like the apparatus should be airtight. There should be no air molecules getting in. There should be no leakage of gas that it comes in contact with the atmosphere. There is no flame to be brought near the apparatus. The end of the thistle funnel should dip under the acid so that the air cannot pass through the thistle funnel inside or outside. So these are some of the precautions which you should take care of when you are preparing hydrogen in the laboratory. About the physical chemical properties and the rest of the chapter, we will do it in the next video. Here I have done about hydrogen's properties of its places in the periodic table and preparation and its reactions, and I am sure you will understand the chapter. You will like the video also. Please hit the like button, share and subscribe my channel. Do hit the bell icon also to get notified of my upcoming video.